Fantasy football waiver wire week 8. Here are some of the names you need to add to your lineup to help improve your chances to get a run going before the playoffs. Let's start off with the San Francisco receivers. Now, Deebo Samuel, he's banged up. He's dealing with the illness. Brandon Ayuk, it was just reported yesterday that he's suffered a torn ACL. It's been confirmed. Prayers up to him. Speedy recovery. Hopefully he's good for the start of next season. But right now, Juwan Jennings, that's an option. If he might be rostered more in leagues now. This might be a guy that's probably stashed in a lot of guys' lineups. I know he's probably like 50% of leagues he's rostered. But if he's in the waiver wire, people cut him after Brandon Ayuk had a couple big games and after Deebo Samuel got things going. But that's a guy I would add because once he was the wide receiver 1 option for the 49ers, he had a dominant ass week. He had like 30 some points in fantasy, 175 yards receiving, 12 targets, 3 touchdowns. So when he is the main focal weapon for Brock Purdy, he puts up big numbers. And as a wide receiver 2 option, he's going to put up big numbers and he's going to be the guy that steps up. Brock Purdy loves him and that could be his number 1 guy moving forward, at least to finish this season up. With CMC out still, all their weapons right now are dealing with injuries, so Juwan Jennings, that's a guy I would add right now if he's available in the waiver wire. Sprint to that shit to get his ass. Ricky Pearsall is another guy I would probably add from the 49ers with all the weapons hurt and banged up. Even Juwan Jennings is dealing with some injuries as well, but 5 targets in his debut game, looked pretty decent. He's just got to get adjusted to the speed of the game. Just got to get adjusted in this offense. He had an impressive training camp. He looked really good. If he didn't get injured, if he didn't get shot, like all the stuff that happened to him, if none of that happened, he would have been a huge focal point in this offense, a guy that's getting his fair share of targets. But now with, the opportunity for him these next couple weeks, I think you add him to the lineup, you stash him, see what he does this week, and then, judge if you put him in the lineup or not the following week. But this is a guy you need to add and stash because he could be a huge weapon for Brock Purdy moving forward with all these weapons dealing with injuries. He definitely has all the tools of being a great receiver. His great run blocking. He's going to get a lot of snaps, going to be out there a lot because of all the things he can do well in this offense. Route running is crisp, great playmaker, has speed, can catch. He could do a lot of good things. A lot of uncertainties with this, 49ers team. Might be their curse year because of all the injuries they're dealing with. So Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, keep an eye out for those two. I think Drake May is another option. If you have a quarterback like a Justin Fields, that was your starting quarterback, you need to find another option. Anthony Richardson, the inconsistencies with him. You need to get somebody that's more solid, that's, playing at a high level, that can put up at least 19 fantasy points, and that's what Drake May has done the last 2 starts for him. The New England Patriots defense has given up a lot of yardage, given up a lot of points. So, Drake May in this offense for the Patriots is having to trail early in the game, and he's going to have to make plays. He's going to have to do things. He's going to have to pass the ball more than, them running the ball. So there's a lot of opportunity for him to put up big numbers, and that's what he's been doing so far. So I really like what I've seen from him and Hunter Henry. Some other options. He's getting guys going. He's elevating the guys around him. Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry, Antonio Gibson. A lot of the weapons for the Patriots are seeing increase production with Drake May in that quarterback. So this is the guy you want to look as maybe your backup quarterback with potential to start soon, or maybe a guy you could plug in and start him right away. With the Cleveland Browns trading away Amari Cooper, that opened opportunity up for Cedric Tillman. 12 targets, 8 catches, 81 yards receiving in the first game without Amari Cooper. So he was that go-to guy for DTR and Jameis Winston. I could see that continuing because this is a guy that needs to get involved in this offense, especially with them struggling so much. This is a guy that's fast, physical, big body receiver that you just need to get the ball to. Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, when the offense is struggling, you need a guy like that that's just going to go up and get the ball and make things happen. And that's what we saw in the game against the Bengals. And he's going up against the Ravens secondary this week. So he should have another big week, potentially maybe a 100-yard performance with Jameis Winston throwing him the ball. Baker Mayfield put up 370 against the Ravens defense. So I could see the Ravens getting ahead early in this game and dominating. Derrick Henry and Lamar putting up a great first half performance. So Winston and the Browns offense are going to have to catch up and trail early, so we could see a lot of production from Cedric Tillman, a lot of production for some of the other receivers for the Cleveland Browns. So Cedric Tillman, moving forward, this is a guy that I would stash, maybe play even right out the gates because of how good he's been. 19 fantasy points. I could see him being a guy that could be a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 for you, a start at some point. I need receivers, so I'm going to start his ass right out the gates. He could become the wide receiver 1 for the Cleveland Browns towards the end of the season. I could see it happen. The last guy I would run to the waiver wire for to add, Troy Franklin. His connection is, showing a lot with Bo Nix the last couple weeks. 10.60 points in week 6 and 7.50 points last week against New Orleans Saints on Thursday Night Football. Bo Nix is starting to get comfortable. This is becoming his go-to guy, Troy Franklin, and I like the production I've seen from him so far. Cortland Sutton really hasn't done much. He's somebody that you need to cut because Troy Franklin looks like he's going to be becoming that number 1 receiver for Bo Nix. And they already had that chemistry in Oregon. He's a guy he could trust. He's going to put the ball in areas only Franklin can get. They are in sync with each other. I see this connection growing and showing a lot more the next couple weeks. Troy Franklin could become that guy for Bo Nix. So Troy Franklin could legitimately become a starting fantasy wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, maybe a flex option. Just things are just going to get in the right direction for the Broncos, Bo Nix, and Troy Franklin. That rookie-to-rookie connection is going to be special soon. So I'd add Cedric Tillman, Troy Franklin, Drake May, and potentially one of the 49ers receivers, Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. Those are the names to watch this week in the waiver wire. Thank you guys for watching. As always, peace. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.